I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. In advance of that, I informed everyone, Council President Collins did inform me that he would not be in. The Councilperson Hines also had another engagement and it notified us in advance, so just want to make sure that's noted for the record. Roll call. Blue.
Here.
Schneider.
Here.
Garmin.
Here.
Anderson. Here. Council received minutes for the Finance Committee meeting on 8/3. Any amendments to those minutes? Hearing none, minutes stand as approved. Council also received minutes of the regular council meeting on 8/3. Any amendments? Hearing none, minutes stand as approved. I'll take this into public speaks. All right, before we start, just a reminder for everybody, public speaks, there is a 5-minute time limit per speaker. Start at the top. Rodney Stone, 1205 Evening Star Avenue. Would you like to speak, sir?
No, sir.
Jeff McCauley, 525 Murray Avenue. Would you like to speak?
Sure.
Floor is yours.
All right. Do I just speak from right here?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been driving through East Canton about 39 years now, never had a ticket. And suddenly in a 2 weeks time period, I had 3 mailed to me. There could be more in my mailbox now. Wasn't very happy about that. So I posted it online, and much to my surprise, I have about 35,000 responses and counting as of when I pulled in here. So I did some research on it, and I could be wrong, but it's what I was told and what I read is that about 40% of that revenue goes to the company that supplies the cameras. Is that true?
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like a very good deal. It sounds like the community of East Canton and the pastors through East Canton are paying a lot of money to an outside company, which I would never let anybody negotiate a deal where somebody gets 40% of my revenue, but that's me. So in doing so, people have been reaching out to me. In fact, on the way here, some people out of Cincinnati, I just got in contact with them. I had to hang up to come in here. Something about Scott Sloan or Sloaney's Law or whatever have offered to help fight this, I guess. So I was going to bring that to your attention. They've recommended maps to distribute to show people how to avoid East Canton, petitions to the businesses to let them know that they're not going to be patrons of the business as long as those cameras are in play, and then a strategy to have the officials that are in here now voted out next election to make, if they don't make a change for the camera. And I thought about it, and I do have the time and the resources to do it, so I am going to commit to that, but I wanted to bring it to your attention. I mean, 39 years is a long time to go without a ticket, and all of a sudden I have at least 3 for $175 for going 46. 46 is not an unsafe speed, especially on a stretch of road that 10 feet further is 55 miles per hour. I definitely plan on fighting that myself, and now that everybody else has reached out to me, I'm going to talk to Scott Sloan and their people, and basically anybody else who wants to get involved, because that's just not fair. That's not safety. That's not the interest of public safety. That's a cash grab, is what that is. So that's what I have to say.
Okay. Very good. Tony and Carla Scott.
I'm just coming here today to, number one, ask a question in regards to the whole thing about the cameras and the speeding. Certainly, I understand you want safety in your communities. And if the speed limit says 35 and I was going 46 or 47, then in fact I was speeding. That's obvious. I did realize that, and I don't travel through East Canton a lot because I live over in Freeburg. So I kind of go different ways, different times, but I like to come through East Canton just to see what's kind of going on. I think with the cameras, it takes away the ability of a real person to pull you over, pull up your driving record and see what kind of person they're dealing with. I haven't had a speeding ticket for years. And I was surprised when I got this in the mail. I went down and saw where I came through. It was 35. I'm sure I was within the speed limit. And as I gradually left town, I hardly paid any attention to the signs because I don't speed. On the interstate, I'll put it on cruise control. Wherever I can, I put it on cruise control because the last thing I want to do is pay for a speeding ticket. So again, I'm not here to badger you. I'm not here to question this issue. The thing that I think that I would like to know is to at least have an opportunity to say, look, I wasn't aware of these. And I'm sure you see a sign that says, after I went back and looked, I saw the sign, but there's signs all the way around. And if I'm a law-abiding citizen, as long as I'm staying within the proper range, I'm not paying much attention to that. So I'm not on Facebook. My wife is. I've heard a little bit of this or that. I'm not coming in here to put any pressure on anybody. I just would like to have at least some common sense. Say, look, you came through here. I was going too fast. Here's a friendly warning, and you're good to go. $175 is a lot of money for something that you just weren't completely aware of. But again, I'm not saying that I wasn't speeding if the speed limit was that. But again, from 35 to just a short amount of time, it becomes 55. There's some grace period in there that I think somebody could, with common sense could see. So that's all I'm saying.
Ms. Scott, would you add anything?
Well, we actually got 2 speeding tickets. We contested it and sent the first one wherever we were supposed to send it, but we got 2 duplicates, same timestamp,
Yeah.
which kind of, to me, set up red flags. My son called down to the police department to make sure this was even legitimate, because why 2 same timestamp? Doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah, we noticed that
What kind-
that the processor had duplicated a particular day, I believe, that there were duplicates sent out. Yeah, you are correct in that.
Well, and I feel the same way that my husband and the gentleman behind me, this seems like a speed trap. Because I got a ticket, my neighbor got a ticket, her husband got a ticket. They're all $175 and we're all going the same speed, 47 miles per hour. And then I got online and I seen everybody's complaining about the same thing. And it's like, do we even trust, like, when these were calibrated and who's checking it? And is this correct? I mean, it just seems fishy that all 3 of us, and you look online, everybody's going 47, and then we all got $175 speeding tickets. And I personally always come through East Canton when I'm coming home because I go 77. I like to stop at Green Farms. I like to get my gas, not down there on the corner and all that mess. I come up through here. I like to come to the library with my grandson, and I'm going to do everything possible to avoid East Canton. So is my neighbor. We're not even going through there because we're all mad. And that's all I have to say.
Let's take 24953 Canal Street.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say I agree with everything that the members of the public have said before me tonight. And then I would like to begin by saying the 5th and 6th Amendments of the Constitution typically apply to criminal matters. And typically, historically, when you are pulled over by a human police officer for a speeding ticket, that is a criminal offense. So you maintain your right to due process, the right to, as people say, face your accuser, have the witnesses of the crime brought before you. But now, suddenly, when a traffic camera issues a civil citation for the same supposed crime of speeding, you supposedly lose your constitutional right to those things. There have been courts and judges that have seen through that paper-thin tactic and said that those things do still apply in some civil cases, and I feel that they would. And I also agree with what has been said, that this is basically what you would call colloquially a speed trap, and that it is a cash grab, and that you guys issued 10,000 citations approximately, according to the last meeting that I attended, 2 weeks ago. Which, if you do that at $175 minimum per ticket times 10,000 is 1.75 million, which to my understanding, before you take out the 40% that goes to traffic and logistics or whatever the bogus company's name is that owns these cameras takes their 40% cut, that's like what you guys bring in an entire year in property taxes, if I understand correctly, or close to it. My numbers might be a little bit off, because I don't live in East Canton. I wouldn't even be here if it was for these fucking cameras. Thank you.
That will conclude public speaks. Takes us into committee reports. Service.
Okay, under parks, we removed the old playground equipment at the park.
Yes.
The new playground equipment has been installed. We will need to do some groundwork around the new equipment. This will have to be done after the ground starts to dry up. Talked with softball, I believe Mrs. Himes asked me about this. Talked with softball, they do have fall ball practices at that lower field, but the games will be played in a different venue. I also reached out to baseball. They sent me a schedule, I'll review that, but it should not conflict anything to do with our market on the Sundays. Under roads, we trimmed trees on several alleys, installed a 35-mile-an-hour sign on Nassau West, catch basin repair at Wood and Orchard. Again, the state paving project is close to being completed in town. I spoke with the head of the project. All cut down areas have been marked in white paint. Us as the service department have located a couple spots that were not marked in white paint that we feel needed attention. I did reach out to them, so there is no date for this to take place. I'll just continue to keep communication with the project manager until the project's complete. Under service, we worked on the pedals and the skid steer. They were sticking. We've tried to repair them, and we hope it works, but if not, we might have to look into getting new pedals for it. Under zoning, I wrote one zoning violation. Under other, we attended the CUE salt meeting. We'll be ordering salt next month, I believe, is the earliest we can order it. We had a power outage in town yesterday. Both generators at the pump house and the tower came on, and all things flowed without any issues. Out of the 4 traffic lights in town, with battery backups, 1 did not come on. We put temporary stop signs up at each side of the intersection. I will be looking into why this took place at that intersection.
Aren't those all new batteries too?
No,
There's one of them that the battery backup system's bad, and traffic and controls were supposed to get us a quote on it. We never did get that. We determined that earlier this year in the springtime.
it was the one at 172 and 44 is the one that did not come on. But I'll be looking into it, why it didn't come on, and probably getting somebody out here to look at that. Try to get that quote done. I don't know when we requested that, but I'll look
I
into it.
can probably tell you. Just go back and look at the last invoice we paid with them. And it's right then.
Any other questions?
How's that? You would know?
I do not
We have
know.
everywhere.
Yeah, all the way from like Belvoir to Trump, I didn't hear anything.
That one catch basin we talked about last meeting still.
Down
It's
here?
not marked.
No, that was one of the ones. And then there's also at the north side of Nassau Plum intersection, there's a sewer manhole there. They didn't have that one marked, I believe. I
He
think.
marked that one like by Grandma Tammy's. That one, it's a big dip.
Yeah, the catch basin, yes, but there is a sewer lid there that's not marked, and I think it needs it because it's pretty bad. So it was the one down here at Walnut, the catch basin, and the sewer lid, but the sewer lids, they draw around it. but not that. So that was one of them, the catch basin, and the other one was the sewer lid at Plum and Nassau. Those were the two that we addressed. I just don't have a date on when they're gonna come back through town and do all these. They've marked them all, so.
I didn't know if you called them and marked them and had to do or.
They actually went through and did it themselves,
They did
and
it like at nighttime. It was like 8 o'clock at night or something.
And then when I communicated with him, he had asked me to go through and check and make sure there's anything that, and when I did, those were two of the spots that I did mention to him. And if there's anything else anybody sees, just let me know. But we drove around and looked, so that was two of the ones that come to our mind. Any other questions or concerns? We are still working on street sweepings. It's steer only moves so fast, you can't move fast with it. It is a slow process. But it works good. When it does, it does a good job.
Does it pick up or does it move to the side?
No, so we have a curb brush that goes along the curb and pushes it in front, and then the broom actually pushes it into the bucket. And then we take it and dump it.
You didn't do rurally, did you?
No. Not yet. And like I said, there's a recurring issues of putting in the people's driveways and wash it back out, so we just haven't been putting it back in people's driveways. So we've just been properly disposing of it.
Well, have we ever gone around and done that before?
Yeah, we actually did, several years ago. We did a whole town one. And then when we had the creek cleaned at, Noble Street.
Yep.
Creek, there was a muddy mess, so we actually did that whole area there. We rented one ourselves and did it. That was years ago too. But whole town wise, no, it's been a long time since we had somebody come in and do that.
Yeah, it's just built up. This is gonna take longer the first time.
It is. And then, like I said, with these rains we've been having, it's just crazy. It's just, everything just keeps washing down the road. And there's several spots where the road's washed out too. We know there's one's on Willow by Mr. Bachman's, and there's another one down by Mr. Blue's house. So some of these roads are starting to wash out a little bit. We just gotta get a hot patch. Good.
Thanks, Henry.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Takes us to safety. Chief is not in tonight. Officer Weiser is here. They previously sent a report.
We had two late incomers. Do they
Okay.
need to sign in or?
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Okay, so you all got the stats.
Mhm.
Obviously, I can only watch how this is done, so I'm gonna do my best. For our call types, we had 120 security checks, 94 extra patrols, 78 traffic stops, 10 assist other agencies, 7 follow-ups, 4 domestic violence, 4 911 hangups, and 29 other calls for service. That was a total of 346 calls logged from August 3rd to August 17th. It did a daily average of 23 calls per day. Sorry. That's all I have for stats. We had a very successful national night out, probably one of the best events that we've done thus far, and we do plan to continue that every year, make it better. There was a lot of participation with the fire department, Awesomeburg Township, and a lot of local businesses were very supportive in that as well. And we want to continue our second annual trunk or treat this year. Also, we do plan to also get businesses involved in that as well, kind of like the same aspect of what we did for National Night Out. That's it.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Officer White, would you mind bringing me that document? Thank you. Before we jump into judicial, we will allow the okay. Is it Rhonda? Rhonda Briggs.
Yes.
Yeah, address 121 Belfort Drive Northeast.
Yeah.
Ms. Briggs, floor is yours.
Okay, I am here about the speed cameras.
Mhm.
Okay, personally, my own opinion, I think in ways they're not a bad thing. I personally prefer what they have there over on one street where it warns you you're slowing down or speed up or whatever. To me, that's a better option. That's more friendly to the community.
Yeah.
The speed cameras in the right places, I understand. But you explain to me the one going out of East Canton toward Louisville. Okay, to me, that is technically, I've checked into it. You know, I have done my research, but technically it's not a speed trap, but it is. It is intent. The intent of the camera that is pointing north on 44, the only purpose of that camera is to trap people like myself, which I am a law-abiding citizen. I haven't had a speed ticket since, I don't remember what year, but it's been about 35 years. Okay, and I do respect the speeds in town. I respect that. It should be that way. Okay, there's kids, there's cars coming out. I understand that. But going out of town, Route 44, the day that they caught me, I don't go that way very often, but when I do, I had to backtrack. I checked my GPS to see where I was and why I was there. And I realized what I did. And what they did, when there's 35-mile-an-hour speed sign right here, and not even 100 feet, we're gonna measure. We're gonna absolutely measure that to make sure. But a very short distance, it says 55 miles an hour. So you're catching me after I'm after the 35-mile-an-hour limit, between that and the 55. And yeah, I started accelerating. I think a lot of people don't realize you cannot accelerate until you get to that 55 limit. I didn't realize that. And I've been driving since I was 16, okay? I did not realize that. So the intent of that camera was not to stop speeders in East Canton. The intent of that camera is specifically to see how many people they can nail like me. $175. I'm sorry, but I'm on a fixed income. That is not affordable. How many families that cannot afford it are getting hit with $175 because they didn't realize? But the intent of that camera is not to slow down speed coming into East Canton. It's to see how many people they can get going out, and that is wrong. That is wrong. The other one coming in, if I was coming into town and I come to that 35 and I'm going faster than what I should be, fine. But when I'm going out of town, you're not protecting the town. You're nailing people for that money. That is wrong. So I will fight it. I will do everything that I can. I have talked to a lawyer. If I have to go to court, whatever I have to do, but it is wrong. And tell you one thing too, if they don't stop that, if they don't get rid of that camera going north, that is nothing but a speed trap, even though legally it's not, okay? But the intent of it is to get people just like myself. It's not to protect coming into town. The intent is to nail people. I saw on Facebook, okay, people that said, I got 5 tickets in 1 week. I was waiting for another ticket because I thought, what if? You know, because if a live police officer would have stopped me that day and said, do you realize you were going 40, I was going 1 mile faster than what they allow. They allow the 10 miles. Okay, I went 1 mile faster than that. So if she would have stopped me and told me that and gave me a ticket, I could have accepted that. But at least I'd have known then, the next day if I come through, watch myself. You cannot accelerate till you hit the 55. But how many people come through the one day, like I did? What if I'd have come through every day, like going to work or something? What if I'd have got 5 or 6 tickets? Are you gonna tell me that I'm gonna get 5 or 6 $175 tickets? And you're gonna expect me to pay that? They can sit me in jail for a while. I have nothing better to do, but that is wrong.
Just so I understand what you're saying, then, you're saying that people are receiving tickets from the same camera
Yes,
5 times in a week?
Yeah.
From the
that's what I
same,
heard, yes.
from the same camera?
Yeah,
Okay,
and stop and think, if I was going to work every day, if I was going that way and I
Yeah.
didn't realize, okay, when you come to the 35 and then you see 55 right in front of you,
Mhm.
and like I said, I've got a long tape measure, we need to measure that. I've been out there looking at it. But in that distance right there, they got me going 1 mile faster than what the allowed amount was. But like I said, I didn't realize you're not allowed to accelerate until you get to the 55. That is a trap. Technically, I've checked into it. Technically, a trap is something that is set up in a way that causes someone to intentionally do something wrong. Okay, so that's not technically, but if you look at the intent of it, that intent is not to protect East Canton Village from people speeding. I'm going out of town. So if I hit 55 in a minute, that's not protecting East Canton Village. That is nailing people for $175 just because you guys want to line your pockets. So they either get rid of that camera going north, do something about it, or come voting time, guess who's not going to be voting for anyone in this room? Okay? If they ask for a police levy, why should I pass that when you're going to hit me with $175 for doing something stupid like that? That is intent and it's wrong. So how many families have 3 or 4 or 5 kids and they go up through there and they get a $175 ticket and they don't realize you're not allowed to accelerate at all to hit 55. And what if they go the next day? What are you going to do? Charge them $175 for every time that they went through there?
No, that's why.
Even
I
one
need to
time
look
is
into
too
that.
much.
And like I said, that's why I asked the question. I'm gonna look into it. Because, you know, we had a program in place where to prevent that, essentially, but we will look into that.
Prevent what?
Prevent somebody from getting 5 tickets from one camera within a week.
Okay,
So I will look into it. I appreciate you bringing that forward.
okay.
And
But even at that, to me, the point, even my ticket, I will fight it all the way because technically, if you want to go by the law, by the word by word, technically it's not a trap. But what is the intent of that camera? The intent is not to stop people from speeding in East Canton because I'm leaving town.
Yeah.
The intent was to nail me for $175 friggin' dollars I can't afford. And it's wrong. Period.
Richard Briggs, same address, 121 Belvoir Drive.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
you guys aren't a court of law. You're simply a village council. And you have the ability to make laws, make regulations, and to ask for enforcement. When she goes to court, and we talk to the judicial system on appeal, they said, we're so backed up, it might take a year for your case to be heard. That didn't come from us, that came from the court. So, just so you know, there's not a lot of goodwill going on with those cameras. Here's what's gonna happen. You're not gonna pass another police levy as long as those cameras are up. None of you who wanna get reelected and supported that camera, you're all gonna be out of office. So that's just the way it is. Now, I've done a little checking on law. And the speed cameras, they come from a company out of state, right? Am I correct?
Are you talking about the manufacturer, sir?
The manufacturer and the people that issue the tickets and the people that read the tickets, they're not from Ohio, are they?
The officer that reviews the tickets is an East Canton police officer.
I'm
The
not,
processor is, yes, out of state, yes.
okay. So what I'm about to say is that there is an 8th Amendment to the Constitution that says cruel and unusual punishment is prohibited. That's in the 8th Amendment. And that applies because this is an out-of-state company that is administering the money that kicks back to you guys. In the Ohio State Constitution, the 9th Amendment duplicates the 8th Amendment for the US Constitution, where the Ohio Constitution says you can't have cruel and unusual punishment. You don't have to be a lawyer to stand in front of a judge and say, this is cruel and unusual punishment. And if the judge agrees, those cameras are gone. Okay, so I'm just saying this is a word of warning. Well, that sounds like a threat. So a word of advice. The cameras go down or police levies go down and your political futures go down with it. It's your call. I don't have a ticket, so I'm in good shape.
Surprisingly, because he drives faster than I do. So it's like, I'm really careful. And when I got that ticket, I was floored. He told me it was in the mail. I thought he was joking. I said, you gotta be kidding me. He knows how careful I am about speed. And then they get me for $175. He's talking about cruel and unusual punishment. That is a lot of money. In my book, it is.
I've never had a speeding ticket, but I got 2 warnings in the month of July.
I never
Luckily,
got,
only warnings.
I never got a warning.
Yeah, if you don't go that way a lot, you wouldn't. I drive through East Canton a
Well, I
lot,
go
and that's
now
why I
and then,
need-
but I never
So,
got
so
one.
anyway, not to digress, because you guys got important stuff you have to do because you're the council. If you have any questions for me, say so. If not, I'll shut up and sit down.
Appreciate your time, sir. Thank you. All right, get back on track with the agenda. Takes us into judicial.
Before you, ordinance 2026-15, an ordinance to authorize the Village of East Canton fiscal officer to make the following interfund transfer between the general fund, fund number 1000-910-910, and the police operating fund, fund number 2904-931-0000, and to declare an emergency. Be it hereby ordained by the council of the Village of East Canton that the Village of East Canton authorizes the fiscal officer to perform the following interfund transfer. General fund to police operating fund transfer, decrease the general fund, transfers out fund number 1000-910-910-0000 by $50,000, and increase the police operating fund, fund number 2904-931-0000 by $50,000 effective 8/10/26. That the Village of East Canton fiscal officer shall certify the increased appropriations to the Stark County Auditor and shall do all things reasonable and necessary to accomplish the purposes of this ordinance. Be it further ordained, it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and of any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were meetings open to the public and in compliance with the law. Be it further ordained that this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, convenience, and welfare of the Village of East Canton, and shall be in full force in effect from and after its passage and at the earliest date allowable by law.
So moved.
Roll call. Blue.
Yay.
Schneider. Yay. Garmin. Amstutz.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call. Blue.
Yay.
Schneider.
Yay.
Garmin.
Yay.
Amstutz.
Yeah.
We need 3/4 to suspend the rules. We don't have enough people.
Okay. Doesn't my fault. I should have.
Nope.
Anything else for judicial? Takes us into grants. Anything for grants?
As Ms. Riggs said at the last meeting, traditionally, we should be hearing something from the congressionally directed spending folks either this month or next month as far as what we've been approved. I've been watching the news and seeing what's going on in Congress, and there's a lot of infighting there. So I thought I'd just take a look and see how dedicated these guys are getting business done. As of July 31st, that is 212 calendar days from January 1st. The House was in session for 107 of those days. and out for 105 days. The Senate was in session 115 days and was out 97 days. So to me, it suggests that they're not really getting the job done. So it's my personal belief we probably won't be hearing anything from them until after the first of the year. I hope I'm wrong. I'd really like to get on with this water line project, but at the same time, can't rush the wheels of progress. In the interim, I'm going to contact Representative Kishman and Senator Timken of the State House and see if they can provide some state money for our match. Anything they can provide will certainly be a benefit. So that's all I have.
Great. Anything else for grants?
No, sir.
Takes us into finance.
Make a motion to approve invoices in the amount of $46,666.22 as presented by Fiscal Officer Geis.
Second.
Roll call. Blue.
Yay.
Schneider.
Yay.
Garmin.
Yay.
Amstutz.
Make a motion to approve payroll from 7/26/26 to 8/8/26 in the amount of $27,477.61 as presented by Fiscal Officer Geis.
Second.
Roll call. Blue.
Yay.
Schneider.
Yay.
Garmin.
Yay.
Amstutz.
And then I make a third motion to approve the July 2026 bank reconciliation as presented by Fiscal Officer Geis. Which is that one.
Second.
Roll call. Blue.
Yeah.
Schneider.
Yay.
Garmin. Amstutz. Fiscal Officer Geis noted the permanent appropriations report through 8/19 is in the meeting packet. Anything else for finance? Takes us into other. I had sent a email just for informational purposes that this would be brought forward regarding setting the trick-or-treat dates for this year. Traditionally, we do the last Sunday in October from 3 to 5. This year, however, we do have an opportunity to do something a little different that I think the kids may like. Halloween actually falls on a Saturday this year, October 31st. Being that it's a Saturday and it's Halloween, I wanted to see if council would be open to changing the trick-or-treat times from 3 to 5 to 6 to 8 and have it on that Saturday.
I don't have any objection. It'd be kind of nice to see spooks at night.
Yeah.
I like that, but I think we need PD coverage when kids are walking around.
So the PD was gonna ask for trunk or treat availability up at the park to overlap that a little bit. I believe you wanted, 4 to 6?
Yeah, so if
Yeah.
we did 6 to 8 for trick or treat, we wanted to do 5 to 7 to overlap that.
You still gonna have people on the road though? Like,
Yeah, we're
For
gonna
the
have
whole time?
officers out. There will be officers taking calls, and then we'll probably have officers driving around passing out candy too, like in the neighborhoods.
especially because it's getting dark.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wonder, is everyone so used to that kind of general rule?
Mhm.
I feel like there's people that aren't gonna see the message, or they're not gonna, so how would we, is there something we can do more to let people know of a change? Like, yeah, that's a pretty big change of.
Yeah, it is, and it,
It's for it, but I just,
yeah,
yeah, for it, but I just wonder,
Yeah.
like, probably some of that people, like, Canton people or whatever showing up on Sunday and being like, oh, what the heck?
Usually the repository posts the times, so we could inform the repository. And then we could also make sure we're posting on the front door here, village website, social media.
Does the
We can
phone
do
still
it.
let us put it on the?
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
We can do it on our Facebook and like try to get it out as much as we can. And I also am doing flyers for the trunk or treat, so I can put something on there. You know, get it, because we go around to the township. And
I just think it'd be important to make it as visible
Mhm.
as possible, so if someone does show up, there's like,
Nice to
No
do it now,
excuse.
August. We're-
you
we've
know,
got plenty
Plenty
of
of
time.
time, yeah.
Yeah, I like it, never done that.
Great.
And not too many people do it.
All right, not anymore, right, yeah. Figure a Saturday wouldn't be that, impact the families that much, I don't think, you know.
I think it's not cool.
Yeah.
And on the whole.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just as long as we have police presence on it.
yeah, sure.
yeah, put some people on overtime, whatever.
All right. Anything else for other?
You do it here?
Make a motion to,
You just made a motion.
oh, second. Sorry, I couldn't hear.
A little slow there this evening.
So you
I
seconded
heard you
the,
go.
motion to adjourn?
You said.
just want to confirm you second the motion to adjourn, okay. Roll call, Blue.
Yay.
Schneider.
Yay.
Carmen. Amstutz.
Yeah.